English translation 76th contact Monday, 23rd May 1977, 1943 Hers.
Hello to you, girl. Man alive, do you know how happy I am to see you? 2 days ago, it was exactly 3 months since I last saw Sim Ya-se. Since then, I have only had a brief telepathic contact with her, which also seemed to come from another dimension. In addition, I received only 2 short greetings from you when you flew by. What is actually going on with you that you are so silent? Does it have a special reason for this? Man, girl, with us everything has gone under and over, and many unpleasant things have happened, also accidents and so on. It just seems as if all sorts of things have conspired against us. Man alive, Minara, you appear to me like an angel. I would not have known what to do next, but now your dark beauty shines at me like the most magnificent rose, whose fragrance lovingly suppresses all worries.
You are very kind as you explain your feelings to me. I thank you very much for that, because your words testify to me that you do not make differences from person to person.
What do you mean by that?
You do not care about the race or the color of a person's skin, to treat them the same manner and think about them correctly as you do about members of your race and color.
You have problems. Do you think, or did you perhaps think that your dark skin color could disturb me, or otherwise negatively influence me?
Actually not. No, because Sim Ya-se informed me that you would never and under no circumstances make any differences in this respect. On the other hand, however, I know that the majority of humanity on Earth is subject to racial pride, which is why I wanted to fathom your feelings and sensations in this regard myself.
And now?
I am filled with great joy because Sim Ya-se informed me correctly.
I am very happy that you feel joy in yourself, you dark-skinned beauty. You are really very pretty. I have wanted to tell you that for a long time, but unfortunately you did not give me the opportunity.
You will often have the opportunity to see me in the future. I thank you for your open statement. It should be such if I assume correctly that you do not make any compliments, as Sim Ya-se explained to me.
Sure, you are right. Quite simply, I noticed that you are quite devilishly pretty. But how can I understand that in the future, I should often have the opportunity to see you? Are you not going back to your homeland?
No, I really like it here, which is why I have taken on a certain task here.
But that is quick. I am really looking forward to seeing you more often. But today we will be a bit short of time, because I have to go back to the house. We have to do concreting, and I think I have to be there. Therefore, you must drop me off again soon and let me go. You know, there is nobody else below who could give the necessary instructions. Would it then perhaps also be possible for you to land down there in the high grass to leave solid tracks? I may be a bit sentimental, but I think it would be important for all of us if tracks were left behind in our own country from the first contact in our new place of residence, which we call the Sim Ya-se Silver Star Center.
I can meet your wish, which I do not find sentimental, by the way. For my part, I think that such an approach is a valuable first step. But do not worry about your work now, because you will not be too late. You see that I am here with Quetzal's ship, which earlier was piloted by Sim Ya-se. So you also know that time jumps can be made here with this device, which is why I think that we can discuss the necessary things in peace before I make a time shift and bring you back to the place where you left your wife in such a hurry, just a few minutes after the time to rush to me?
Then everything's okay. What is so important to you that you cannot say at another time?
It is the following. First of all, I am to give you and all your group members my best greetings from Simya, Se, Ta, and Quetzal, as well as from Plagia. Second, I am to tell you that Simya Se will not contact you again until the time when everything has been settled with your center and the buildings have passed into your ownership. For this, she lets explain. She has her specific reasons, which she will explain to you in more detail when she returns. On the other hand, she is currently indispensable and held in another time plane where she is on the go for your concerns. She will also give you personal explanations in this regard. But why I came here now is this matter. For very exactly 3 months now, we have been extremely busy pursuing a malicious cause and getting it under control. This was also the actual reason why I did not make contact with you, because I lacked the necessary time. The main thing is that the intelligences of Giza have made themselves noticeable again and are trying by all means to disrupt the construction of the center. But not only that, because they try to destroy everything in all possible ways, because in their evilness, they fear and have to fear the truth. This is also the reason why all sorts of evil has befallen you in recent times, and that you have had various accidents and other nuisances. Some of your group were and are particularly at risk, which is why Simya Se warned you some time ago at night when you could prepare the persons concerned to exercise special caution. These are all the persons in the group who are particularly sensitive to the forces of the negatively controlled Giza intelligences, who have agreed in alliance with the Brazilian group to use even malicious means to destroy the center. Be careful, therefore, for you may be threatened by danger in a material form, even from Brazil. The consciousness-based influences of the intelligences of Giza should not be taken lightly either, as you are used to saying, because they are particularly dangerous. Some of the group have been extremely strongly influenced and have been severely impaired in their decision-making and action power. First and foremost, Jacobus, your wife, and Margaret, with Margaret in particular doing the greatest damage to herself, since she cannot renounce certain delusional and untruthful false concerns. This refers to the concerns of spiritualistic and falsified truth machinations into which she enters, since she allows herself to be influenced by a false medium for hours, which has already had a bad effect on her thought processes and through which she finds certain parallels between the truth and the deception offered to her. These parallels, however, are dangerous, false, and misleading, which is why you should explain to her that she should better stay away from these sessions in the future. You yourself did not allow yourself to be influenced in any form by the negative powers, but you still did not do your work. Instead of the work you were assigned, you gave yourself up to purely manual activities and did the things that were assigned to your group members. You know very well that you have got far behind with your work of educational writings and books, etc., and that you should have made up for it. But as we noticed during our surveillance and control flights, you did not take care of it in any wise, but were otherwise engaged in purely manual activities. Together with your group members, you have done manual work and neglected your entire mission. You know very well what that means, and whether you can make up for it is very questionable. With that, you have done something that you cannot take responsibility for, which is very clear to you, as I know exactly. Your behavior is completely incomprehensible and new to me and to everyone else, because according to all the information you have given, up to now, you have always tried only to fulfill your mission and ours. You are therefore unable to find an excuse in it, as I have recently been able to infer from your thoughts that you are the only one who is able to carry out the relevant manual work. Your duty would have been to let yourself take part in the manual work only so far as it would have required an explanation of the work. But the fact that you did the work yourself was wrong, which you know very well. The persons you teach are absolutely capable of making themselves independent through your instructions, so long as they can carry out the work assigned to them themselves. If they do not do this now, because they do not want to make themselves willing to do it, and because they think that you would do their work, then it does not give you the right to do the work yourself, because it leaves your own and much more important work behind. Furthermore, all those who cannot be responsible for their duty have to bear the damage themselves, because they do not only offend the present, but also the future and at least the next life with the new personality. 2 of your group will have to bear the consequences in a short period of time, while 2 others will probably also suffer consequences if they do not beware of being so very influenced by the malicious Giza intelligences, which has already led them to secretly spread group internal secrets and partly consciously try to damage the whole thing. These are the reasons why I came here today and why I had to take this time despite all my work.
You have not exactly told me pleasant things, not only about myself, but about some others as well. I know that I am solely to blame for my neglect of work. That is why I do not want to apologize. I will simply see that I can somehow manage the work, just somehow. But do you not think that you are going a bit too hard into court with the group members you are talking to? You know, they all have to learn first what cannot happen overnight. But it would still be good for myself if I knew some things about those 2 who secretly work against the group and reveal internal group secrets, and I can vividly imagine that this is very special information. May I at least know the names?
You shall be informed about it, but this shall only be after our conversation, which will later be telepathically repeated by me to you, and which you shall then write down.
Okay, I am happy with that if I at least know where I am. I also have some other questions that do not necessarily belong in the report.
I will give you time for your questions. But first, I have a lot to say to you. Our monitoring has revealed some unpleasant things in the behavior of the individual members of the group. For example, in the respect that some of the core group members believe that their position is that of issuing orders. But if you want to live in a community, you must never give orders. But the sense that has broken through must also not continue to exist, that the concerns discussed in the core group should be concealed from other core group members, even if it is a matter of their mental and physical health, which, as is well known, only applies in one case. The fact that core group members feel elevated by their position and thus want to set themselves above others is in no wise acceptable. From the first to the last, all are equal, the knowing as well as the less knowing. But you will still be given rules of order in this regard when the probationary period has elapsed and the chaff has separated from the grain. Until then, however, some changes will be necessary in the core group proposal lists, which will be unavoidable. Too many duties are still being disregarded by individuals, as well as responsibility for one's own life and that of one's neighbor. And there are still too many misleading and delusional forms of thought imprinted in the individual without being willing to neutralize them in order to accept the truth alone. For delusional belief and misleading falsehoods tempt the seekers and researchers to take unreal and false paths. Even in some, there is still too much thought and the will to be more than others. This partly because they erroneously assume that they are higher in knowledge than others, which in truth is wrong and corresponds to self-deception, but also because they believe themselves imaginatively or by the lying false statements of mediums to have been allegedly great or otherwise important personalities in earlier lives. But as you yourself know very well, there is currently no person in your group area who would have been even remotely an important personality in their former lives, because for certain reasons, they left all their activities unfinished before they learned them.
I know some things, but not everything. What I have found out so far, however, only confirms your statement. In fact, as I at least know so far, no one of the group has worked for a long time in previous lives, because they were prevented from doing so for a very specific reason. We would say that the profession had been abandoned before 1/3 of it was in. And nobody really got any further than that, apart from housewives and pottery.
You have unraveled things correctly. But now you should ask your questions, which should then no longer be mentioned in the report. More than an hour has already passed, and I have to go back to my work just like you. Only I cannot change mine by time manipulation.
Well, then I want to